Is this your first time in Portugal?
Actually, this is my second time visiting Portugal, but my first time actually having concerts in Portugal. It's very, very exciting for me and my band. We've been working with Music for All for over a year and a half now, basically slowly integrating ourselves into the Portuguese market in terms of radio and interview and promotion. So we're very, very excited to play these shows in Portugal from the 22nd till the 26th of January.
Where have you presented your album, As You Are?
So basically we presented our album As You Are, which is our debut album, which was officially released in Israel in December 9th, 2017. We were played on all the best radio shows in Israel, including Yoav Kutnel and Elliot, on the Prime radio station called Galgalatz. There were a lot of interviews, also in the Jerusalem Post, online interviews and reviews from London, from the United States. We actually did an online campaign with a wonderful PR and plug-in company in Manchester called High Violet. We did a 2-month campaign with them, basically targeting radio all over the world. We did very, very well with that campaign. Also, initially, because through that campaign we were played on multiple stations in Poland, we actually got an opportunity to play in a really, really gorgeous festival, very, very artistic and avant-garde festival in Łódź, Poland in 2018, in September. So we've been played all over Europe, in the States, in Australia. We had very high ranking of radio in Italy, in France, in Germany. In the States, definitely, we were played a lot. And obviously, the album is represented and previewed on every digital platform. And we will be re-releasing it again in Germany very soon.
What are your inspirations?
Basically, what my inspirations are is a very, very interesting, good question. It's something I can go on and on about for hours and hours. I'm actually an artist and an art director and a musician, so I have multiple inspirations. If it's from the visual art world, for example, video art, painting, sculpture, photography, which I've done myself for many years, and also the musical aspect. So over the years, there have been a lot of inspirations since I was a child till now, ranging from New Orleans stomp from the 30s and a lot of jazz from the 30s, which I really love. And I used to DJ a lot at lots of different venues and parties, such as Duke Ellington, Billie Holiday, Count Basie, all the wonderful big band, Benny Goodman and such. And then moving on to the 50s, of course, all the rock and roll, beautiful things. And then, of course, the 60s, which has a very special place in my heart. All the beautiful romantic prog rock, such as King Crimson, Pink Floyd. All the new experimentations with sound that were made in that time are really appealing to me. You have Jimi Hendrix and the Doors and the Kinks and the Who and Yes and so many wonderful bands from that time, which I love immensely and I'm sure are incorporated one way or another into my music or specific songs that I've written. Later on, of course, we have the 80s with all the new synthesizer equipment and new sounds coming, which I'm also very connected to. I was born in the 80s and that was the music that was literally around and on the television all the time. I love the 80s. I'm very much... I love the styling. It's also now we can really feel in the past decade like a really strong retro back to the 80s in terms of styling and music and fashion and everything. And of course the moody 90s, which I was very influenced by as a teenager, bands like Nirvana and Kurt Cobain, and of course Soundgarden, Chris Cornell, Queen of the Stone Age, all the good stuff that came out of Seattle in the early 90s. I also listened to a lot of electronic music from the early 90s when it was all new and fresh. Drum and bass, jungle, tech house, techno, bands like Underworld from London, which are amazing, and I love their sound till this very day. Lots and lots of musical inspirations, world music, polyrhythm. It goes on and on and on. Of course, Jeff Buckley has a very, very special place in my heart. He was such a pure, wonderful singer-songwriter. There is nothing quite like him in the world. I do feel on some level, maybe if I could compare Jeff to a living, working musician today, that would probably be James Blake, which is a wonderful young musician, bringing the minimalism into his music and really blowing us away with his incredible voice. Of course, artists like Bjork have inspired me immensely in the course of my life. Nick Cave, PJ Harvey, it goes on and on.
Who plays with you on stage?
So to my delight, I have incredible musicians on stage with me. The band has changed a lot in the last 8 years. It's a long project. It started off as guitar, piano, and vocals, and later turned into piano, vocals, and cello, and then a guitar, cello, vocals, and piano, and it just kept mutating and changing. We were 6 people on stage for many, many years, and now we're actually 4. So it's basically my musical producer is also an amazingly talented guitarist, Omer Hershman, which will be on guitar and singing backup vocals. We have Adi Gigi, who plays the bass, and we have Ran Jakobovich on drums. Every one of them is a musical producer on his own right. They're involved in lots of different projects, which are international, ranging from film scoring to scoring for dance companies, scoring, of course, for films, commercials, sitcoms, and they have an incredible mind, all of them, and an incredible energy. And I feel very much that they're my musical family, and everything is honest and on the table. And we have an amazing time on stage and off stage. So that's my band currently. And yeah.
What the Portuguese public can expect from your shows?
I think that overall the Portuguese public can expect from the shows a musical experience full of flavors and colors from different places in the world. The band's base is probably indie rock or progressive rock, and it has so many different flares and tones from multiple genres such as jazz, classical, punk, glam, prog rock, lots of different flavors. So that's on the musical aspect, and I think the performance itself brings a lot of mystery, darkness, light into dark. I talk a lot about mysticism and magic, and I think my main message throughout the show, throughout my writing, is to be true to yourself and listen to your heart, no matter what stress or expectations people have of you, whether it's your mother or your boss or your partner. That it's so important for us in this life to manifest what we truly believe in and do what we truly love, to be healthy people. So that's something that I talk about a lot in my texts, in my music. And I think it, on some level it can be experienced as a sound healing experience as well. I also learned sound healing, and I'm very aware of the different frequencies and their attributes and how they affect people. So it's something that I also like to integrate into my work. Healing is definitely part of the experience. So I hope the Portuguese public will enjoy the shows very, very much. Thank you.
When are you going to release a new album?
Well, we're currently working on new material, of course. It's been 2 years since we released an album. We actually released last year, in 2019, we released a live session EP. 3 songs. 1 song hasn't been released yet, I Am the Sun, which will be re-recorded in a studio version in our next EP or LP. I would love for it to happen by the beginning of next year, to have a full-on EP or album. And I'm also working on a new album, new material in Hebrew for the first time. So that's very, very exciting for me as well.